So one of the main purposes of an adjuster is to do a proper claims investigation to determine if coverage is going to be afforded or if it's not going to be afforded, i.e. a denial. That can be a pain for a lot of new adjusters, and I am here to help you with that.
In the past, I'm in the future. You mad that they don't salute you. I need a bag.
Thank you guys so much for clicking on this video. If you're new here, my name is Keela Trishan, and I make videos on lifestyle, insurance, and mental health. I also do vlogs, day in the life in the insurance industry, day in the life of the toddler, all the things. So if that's something that interests you, definitely go on ahead and click that subscribe button below. Be sure to turn on your notifications so you don't miss anything from me. And if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back, and thank you for your support. Okay, so as I preface, I want to talk about just kind of how to do a proper claims investigation, like for coverage. That can be something that is very intimidating for a new adjuster, and it can be something that it changes with each claim, what type of investigation you would do. So I want to just kind of give some pointers for anybody that is struggling in that area, or anybody that's simply new to the industry and kind of doesn't have an idea what's going on. This is kind of going to be like a little crash course, and with these topics, I'm going to also give examples just to kind of tie it all in together. So if this is something that you think could help you or could help somebody, definitely go on ahead and stay tuned. Okay, so jumping right in. Typically, as an adjuster, when you get the claim, there's going to be a little bit of information that's already in the file letting you know kind of what happened. So it might say something like, customer had a pipe burst and damaged some floors. Customer has rain damage in their home from a roof leak, something like that. So you kind of have an idea, even if you don't have specific details, you have an idea kind of what is going on before you even talk to the customer. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is look at their prior claims history. This could also be called their prior loss history. So you're going to look at the claims that they filed previously with the insurance company that you work for. You're also going to look at a screen called ISO. I don't remember what ISO stands for, but it's basically it's a system where insurance companies talk to each other. So there is going to be a record of claims that were filed with each insurance company. And essentially what you want to do is see, is there any type of correlation between the claim that they're filing and probably previous claims that they've filed in the past. Things that you're gonna be looking for is this damage that they're claiming in the same area as a previous claim? Is this damage that they're claiming damage that may have been denied in a previous claim? Did they file a claim with another insurance company, and are they trying to now get money for the same type of thing with your insurance company? Things like that. So the loss history is going to tell you a lot. Also, you kind of look at the frequency that they file claims. Some people file claims for every little thing, and that might tip you off to a potential fraud situation. If you're seeing a lot of coincidences, or if you're seeing a lot of things that are very similar, you can look at that claims history. You can kind of look at the details in the file if these claims were filed with your insurance company, to kind of get an idea of their temperament. Because as adjusters and anybody that works with claims, you're going to have to document every interaction that you have. So you can get a lot of information just by looking at their previous claims. And then in some cases, you'll see that this person may have never filed a claim. They may have never actually used their insurance. They just been paying premium for however long they've had their policy. So you can learn a lot just by looking at their previous dealings with insurance, whether it be with your company or another insurance company. Okay, so my second tip, after you have done a full kind of claims history reviewed to see if they have filed previous claims or if they have anything going on with other insurance companies, after you've done that and you've kind of done your full research on that particular file, when you talk to the customer, have the customer tell you in their words what happened. Have them tell you from start to finish. You want to ask them the date that the loss happened. This will already be in the file, but you want to confirm that date. You want to ask them what they saw, where was it in their home, ask them how many rooms are affected, pretty much anything pertaining to the claim. So the way I typically start it out is I let them tell me exactly what happened, and then I will ask them other questions so I can have a complete picture. So for example, I got a claim the other day, and this was actually a claim that I talked about in the vlog that I tried to complete. You guys will see that either before this video or it'll come out right after. But basically what I talked about is this person had a leak in their kitchen, and they said that some flooring was damaged. So a question that I'm going to ask is, okay, what type of flooring is it? In this case, it was laminate flooring. Okay, is this laminate flooring only in your kitchen, or does it go into other rooms? Those are going to be things that you want to know, especially as a field adjuster, because if you're going out to take measurements or sketch this place, when you have situations with continuous flooring, you might be responsible for not only the flooring in that particular room, but you might be responsible for that continuous flooring into other rooms. So this is going to be something that's going to help you with setting up the time that you're going to be at this inspection, setting up possible expectations for the customer, things like that. And then also too, you want to make sure, like when you're talking about the dates, you'll have situations where a loss may have happened, a week ago, but the person is just now calling the insurance company. You want to ask questions like, okay, well, why was there a delay in filing the claim? In some cases, a delay could potentially affect coverage, whether it's something that's covered or not. In my experience, a lot of times when customers report late, it's either because the loss just wasn't like that big of a deal to them at the time, or maybe they were working on getting it fixed, and then as they started to do repairs, they realized that the job was going to be way more expensive than what they initially thought. So they were like, okay, let's get insurance involved. Whatever the case may be, you just want to get this information up front so you know going in if there's going to be a potential coverage issue. So to just kind of recap, have the customer tell you in their words, don't ask them leading questions, have them tell you in their words what happened, and then just clarify information as you go along and kind of have an idea of what questions you need to ask based on what they tell you. Okay, so the third thing that you're going to want to keep in mind when you're doing a coverage investigation, after they've told you what happened and, basically why they're filing a claim, you want to ask them what they've done to mitigate their damages. And in layman's terms, essentially, what have you done to stop further damage? So in the case of the leak on the flooring, I'm asking the customer, okay, have you had a plumber come out to determine what's leaking? Have you fixed the leak? Is it still leaking? Those are things that you're going to want to know, because if someone is calling the insurance company to have them, pay for potential damages, we need to try to get to the root of the problem, because we have to stop the problem in order to, bring the house back to pre-loss condition. So in that case, the customer was actually having a plumber come out to, take a look and see what was going on. We had engaged a water mitigation company to come out and dry out materials and let us know what was affected, but they couldn't even do their job until the actual leak was stopped. So that was something that as I'm investigating, I want to make sure, do you have a plumber? Because if you don't have a plumber, or you haven't been thinking about getting a plumber, then I need to kind of put that bug in your ear, and I could also offer to send out a plumber or a leak detection, something so we can get that leak stopped and prevent further damage, which could also affect coverage. We want to prevent further damage to try to keep the claim as small as possible and just kind of easier for not only the customer, but the insurance company as well. Okay, so the fourth thing that I typically look at when I'm doing a coverage investigation, if the customer has had any vendors involved, so in this case with the plumber, if that plumber has already come out, do you have a report for the plumber? Do you have an invoice? You want to try to get copies of any reports or any type of information you can get for vendors that have been in the house previously. This is going to give you a lot of information. One, sometimes customers don't know the proper terms when it comes to like what failed. So I've had people tell me that they had a sewage backup and it wasn't actually a sewage backup. What it was tree roots, but obviously the color of the water that's backing up is, dark, so they may think it's sewage, something like that. So it's important as an insurance company to know exactly what the cause was for this loss, because one loss may be covered and the other loss may not. And if you don't really know, and if the customer doesn't really know, it's going to be hard for you to move forward with your investigation. So I always ask for any reports, any invoices, because that will give you information. It'll also give you contact numbers if you need to reach out to a plumber to have them explain to you in layman's terms what's going on. Another thing too is, as an adjuster, just kind of a side note, as an adjuster, you are trained to be able to interpret the policy and be able to apply coverage. You're not expected to be a plumber. You're not expected to be a contractor. You're not expected to be a body shop owner or whatever type of insurance you're doing. So if there are terms that you don't understand, these are things where if you have the information for the vendors that were involved, you can reach out to them to find out what these terms mean so you can properly document your file and you can properly make a coverage determination. Also, just kind of as a spin-off of that, like just asking if any vendors were involved, you want to find out if there were any recent repairs to different materials that they're saying are damaged, or if there was like a pipe leak or even mold. Ask them if they had any vendors involved in their home, because that can also give you information. Maybe it was the vendor's fault that something failed. If somebody just had recent plumbing repairs, maybe the plumbing wasn't installed correctly. Maybe they didn't have any issues before they installed the plumbing, and now all of a sudden they're seeing leaking. If they had, let's say, a washing machine overflow, maybe the washing machine wasn't installed properly, or whatever. So this gives you information for subrogation. Subrogation is basically where if there is another party that's responsible, then the insurance company will go after that party that's responsible after they pay the covered damages. You might see if there's any type of fraud going on. Like, there's all kinds of things that are going on in the background, and why you want to have as much information as possible. So just to kind of recap that, make sure that you're asking for any reports, any invoices, or contact information of any vendors that they've had involved in the claim before you got to it. Okay, so the last tip that I want to give just for helping you complete your coverage investigation is to decide what vendors you may need to involve to help you get to your coverage decision. So I'm going to go on ahead and give an example of a mold claim that I handled recently. So I had a customer that called in a claim for mold in her home. Now, typically on most homeowner policies, mold is not something that is covered on its own. There needs to be evidence of some type of leak that would be covered that contributed to the mold, or something like that. It would have to be a covered loss for mold to be covered. Typically, like mold, fungus, anything like that, that's just growing in your home, that's not going to just automatically be covered, because sometimes it's a result of something that's been going on long term, something that needs to be addressed, which would be a maintenance issue, and that's usually not covered by the typical homeowner's policy. Now, although I know this and I explain it to the customer, I kind of already have an idea that this claim might be denied. But before I can deny this claim, I do have to do a proper investigation to see if there's anything else going on that I can't see and that the customer can't see. That is what an adjuster does. You have to, basically, when you decline these claims, you have to have something to stand on. You have to show that you've done a proper investigation. So in this particular claim, I did ask the customer if she had any recent plumbing repairs. She said that she had her home repiped a year ago, and she had been seeing this mold kind of over the past couple of years. So that too is even a telltale sign. Like, if this has been going on for a couple of years, why are you just not reporting it? What I wanted to do was determine, are there any like recent leaks? Are there any ongoing leaks right now that we don't know about, before I can comfortably decline this claim? So what I did was I sent out a leak detection company so they could check all of her piping, all of her drain lines, and then check the areas where this mold was to let us know if there was anything going on that might trigger coverage. So when they did their inspection, they didn't find any leaks. They didn't find any like drain line issues. What they determined is that where the mold was usually like on an exterior wall. So like in a bedroom where the other side of the wall is outside. What they found was that there were like small cracks in her stucco. And typically, like when it would rain, or like if she's watering her grass, something like that, that water over time is slipping into the room, seeping into the room, should I say, in all of these rooms. And that's what's causing the mold. So the customer told me that she kept cleaning up the mold. It was black mold. She kept cleaning it up and it kept coming back. So then at this point, it's me kind of using my expertise to explain to her that, with that type of mold, typically it's in the drywall, and it's something where it would need to be remediated by a professional company. Cleaning it off the surface doesn't take care of it, inside of the wall. So whole other explanation. I'm not gonna get into all that with y'all, but that's typically how mold works. It would need to be remediated by a professional company in order for it not to come back. And then you'd also want to deal with whatever's going on with your stucco to ensure that you don't have that issue moving forward. So with the report from this leak detection company, and then just their idea of what's going on, where the mold was, me coming out doing my inspection, using my expertise that I only learned over the course of just doing this job for a few years, I was able to write a decline letter where there were no holes. Like, I did all the investigation I could possibly do to see if I could find coverage for her. And I was able to also explain to her that, unfortunately, per your policy, the policy doesn't cover this type of damage, but I was also able to kind of give her information to move forward so she can get it taken care of on her own. So I think that the coverage investigation piece is, it's important, obviously, when you are extending coverage, but it's even more important when you are declining claims. You want to have like a solid reason for declining a customer, because these people are paying premium. So they're coming to you because they need help. And if you're going to tell them that you can't cover it, you need to at least show that you've done everything you can to find them coverage. And if there's no coverage, you need to explain to them why. Okay, you guys, so I know that was a lot of information packed into not long of a time. But again, I just wanted to kind of give you like a crash course on how to properly investigate. Obviously, your coverage investigation is going to change depending on what type of claim you have, what the details are. Sometimes you're going to have to get creative. But the biggest thing that you're going to want to do is ask your customer all kinds of questions. You want to be inquisitive. Ask them what happened. Ask them, do you have an idea why it happened? When did it happen? When did you discover it? What date? Try to lock in dates and times and stuff like that. This is going to help you to apply the policy properly. Again, getting all of their reports, anything that could potentially help you, anything that could kind of uncover an answer to something that is looming because you just simply don't know. And then also knowing when to engage your vendors. Also, it's going to be helpful, like if you get stuck, there are even times, I've been doing this for a while, and there are even times for me where, a claim is just so complex and my investigation is so complex that I need to go ask for help. I need to go talk to a manager, or I need to go talk to a claims examiner or a trainer to find out, hey, what would you do in the situation? And believe it or not, there are even times where they get stumped and then you're just kind of making up things on the fly. But the biggest thing that you're going to want to do is just make sure that you are doing everything with integrity. At the end of the day, like, your job as an adjuster is to find coverage for your customer. Now, there's not going to be a time where you're going to have all the answers. And there are going to be times where you have to decline people, but you still want to be able to help them. Even if you can't offer them monetary compensation, you still want to be able to kind of help them figure out how to move to the next step and get their home back to normal. Because at the very least, with them paying premium every month or every year, however they have it set up, you still want to be able to offer them some type of service to get them back to where they need to be. So if this helped you, definitely go on ahead and give me a thumbs up. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you have any specific questions, anything like about what I talked about that you would like to dig deeper into, let me know in the comments. I'd be more than happy to make additional videos or address something specifically. If you haven't already subscribed and you made it this far, definitely go on ahead and click that subscribe button below. Be sure to turn on your notifications so you don't miss anything from me. And with that being said, you guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you next time.
Mad, they don't salute you. I need a bag, size is super. They turned your bag, it's like I never